should be shaking your dang on head at yourself.
I ain't did.
You always doing. You was doing 3 days ago in Houston. What is you blowing up and saying all these inaccuracies for to these people? You always doing that. You always doing. No, it ain't accurate. No, it's not actually accurate. You said to me that when we were married, I was going to hotels cheating on you. That's a goddamn lie.
I didn't say you wanted to.
Yes, you did.
I didn't say that you was.
Yes, you did.
There's
and
a
you've said it
possibility.
multiple times.
There's a possibility, because like me.
Well, we know you were
it's
cheating.
okay. Okay. I'm sorry for that.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Not sorry
I knew
for
they was
cheating.
going to destroy what we had. All this, it wouldn't have been like it is.
What started as quiet whispers behind the scenes just exploded into a full-blown storm, and this time, Melody Shari's mother is right in the middle of it. For years, she's been the calm in the chaos, the one person who stayed away from drama even when it surrounded her daughter. But not anymore. She's speaking up, and not with subtle hints or quiet suggestions, but with a public call-out that nobody saw coming. And the name she dropped? Nell Fletcher. Yes, the same Nell who's been at the center of rumors, the one fans have accused of pulling strings behind the scenes. Now, Melody's mother has decided enough is enough, and she's calling out what she believes has been happening to her daughter all along. But what triggered this sudden explosion? Why now, after all this time of silence and composure? What pushed her to finally say what's been on her mind for years?
Y'all, at midnight, Melody Shari Rogers released her statement stating that she would no longer be on Love and Marriage Huntsville. After 9 seasons of sharing her life with us, she has decided to part ways with the show.
To understand this shocking public moment, we have to go back to where it all started, because this didn't just come out of nowhere. This feud has been slowly boiling beneath the surface, and Melody's mother's latest outburst might just be the breaking point everyone's been waiting for. Before the cameras, before the headlines, Melody's journey looked picture perfect. She was the shining face of Love and Marriage Huntsville, a woman balancing business, motherhood, and fame while trying to keep her dignity intact. But behind those confident smiles were long nights of stress, tears, and manipulation that fans rarely saw. Her mother, Ms. Vanessa, had been watching it all unfold quietly, patiently, hoping things would settle without her interference. She wanted her daughter to fight her battles in her own way, but what she witnessed over the years changed that completely.
It's a wrap for Melody Shari Rogers on Love and Marriage Huntsville. She's officially announced that she will not be returning to the reality TV series. Look, there have been a lot of signs that Melody was done with OWN, that she was done with Carlos, because she unfollowed him, she's said some things on social media, and most recently, she revealed some things about her issues with the show and how it's being produced, and someone, a producer on her show, basically wanted to be her TV manager, and when she said no, she felt as if there was retaliation.
From the early days, when Melody's marriage to Martell was crumbling in front of the world, to the tension with castmates who once called her friend, Ms. Vanessa saw her daughter endure public humiliation after public humiliation. There were times she wanted to speak, but she held back. She believed silence was strength, that the truth would eventually come to light without her having to lift a finger. But then came the whispers. Conversations behind closed doors. Rumors that someone was working hard to manipulate Melody's image, to make her appear difficult, ungrateful, or even replaceable. That someone, according to many insiders, was none other than Nell Fletcher, a name that has come up repeatedly whenever talk of behind-the-scenes control surfaces. At first, Melody's mother brushed it off as gossip. But as time went on, things started adding up. Scenes were edited in ways that painted her daughter as the problem. Cast members suddenly shifted their loyalty. And decisions that should have been Melody's own began to feel like they were being made for her. To anyone else, it might have seemed like just another season of reality TV drama.
What's up, Instagram? Listen, really quickly, a lot of y'all been inboxing me. Some of you have been texting me, asking me what is going on, what is up with this video that Martell Holt has decided to post today. I really don't know. I have no idea where his mind is, why the hell he done took it to social media at that. However, since he keeps saying he got some stuff to get off his chest and he got to put the truth out and all of that, then I'm gonna get some stuff off my chest too. Like, it's not gonna be no one-sided anything ever. So I'm waiting just like y'all, and I'm waiting to hear what his truth is, so that way I can go ahead and put my truth out as well. You know what I'm saying? And my truth gonna be the truth. So I'm waiting like you guys. I don't know what he's thinking. Kind of disappointed, to be honest, because I thought we had gotten past the whole going to social media thing, but it's all good. But y'all can stop inboxing me, because I don't know. I'm waiting too.
But to a mother watching her child's reputation get twisted, it was personal. And that's where the turning point began. According to people close to the situation, Nell had been quietly building influence behind the scenes, calling meetings, suggesting storylines, and even advising producers on which angles would work best for the show's ratings. Melody, being one of the biggest stars of the series, naturally became the centerpiece of those conversations. The tension between Melody and Nell started subtly. It began with disagreements about how Melody's storyline should go. Then, it evolved into silent power struggles: who had control, who got to decide what narrative was pushed, and who had the final say when it came to Melody's future on the show. What fans didn't know was that while Nell was presenting herself as a supportive figure publicly, there were reports that she was working behind the curtain to position herself as a key influencer.
I'm gonna do it. I want to do it. You know,
I'm ready.
Right. And then, the good thing about it, I was thinking with you guys having 7 days on and 7 days off, the 7 days that you have them, I can make sure I'm here in Huntsville in case you need me. And the 7 days off, I can do whatever I want to do,
Go where you want to go, yeah.
And who knows, maybe him and I would get to a place where if he needs me to keep the kids, I would be willing to do that for him.
Because that's what used to happen in the past.
Yeah.
Sometimes he would call you and ask you about watching them, whether that was because we were going to go out of town, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
So hopefully, we'll get to that place where, he could call me and I could say, oh yeah, I'll keep him this week for you, or a couple of days if you got to go out of town and do something.
That meant controlling not just what was shown, but how people were seen, especially Melody. Melody's mother noticed it all. Every small jab. Every strategic rumor. Every time Melody's kindness was turned into weakness. And for a while, she stayed quiet. But everything changed after Melody's latest public fallout, when online chatter about her potential return to the show reached a fever pitch. Some wanted her back. Others didn't. Yet one thing was clear: people were trying to control the narrative around her, and her mother had finally had enough. When Nell started making comments that seemed to question Melody's attitude and choices, Ms. Vanessa decided to step in. And when she did, she didn't whisper. She roared. In a shocking public statement that spread across social media like wildfire, Melody's mother directly addressed Nell, calling out manipulation, lies, and the constant behind-the-scenes tactics used to push her daughter into uncomfortable positions. It wasn't just a protective mom speaking up. It was a woman who had seen too much, stayed quiet too long, and was now ready to tell the truth no matter who it exposed. But here's the twist: this wasn't just a feud between two women. This was about something much deeper. According to sources close to the show, Melody's departure had shaken the production team. Ratings were slipping, and the audience missed her presence. Bringing her back wasn't just a creative decision, it was a financial one. And Nell, who had positioned herself as someone with influence in those meetings, reportedly wanted to make that return happen on her own terms. There were quiet efforts to persuade Melody, secret conversations, and offers made behind the scenes, all designed to convince her to come back under certain conditions. But what nobody realized was that Melody wasn't going to be easily swayed anymore. She had been burned too many times before. And her mother wasn't about to let her walk back into a trap disguised as an opportunity. So, when Nell allegedly tried to involve Ms. Vanessa in these negotiations, hoping she'd convince Melody to reconsider, it backfired completely. Instead of playing along, Ms. Vanessa reportedly confronted her directly. She saw through the charm, the smooth talk, and the promises. She understood that behind the concern was control, and she wasn't having it. Witnesses described the conversation as tense, almost chilling. Words were exchanged that couldn't be taken back. And when it became clear that Nell wasn't backing down, Ms. Vanessa decided to go public. The moment she spoke out, the internet exploded. Fans couldn't believe it. This was the woman who had always avoided drama, suddenly standing center stage, calling out someone by name. And she wasn't vague about it. She made it crystal clear that Nell was part of the problem, accusing her of using manipulation and influence to twist the truth for her own benefit. That single move changed everything. The fallout was immediate. Social media lit up with reactions. Some fans applauded Melody's mother, saying she was only doing what any mother would, defending her daughter against a toxic environment. They saw her words as a bold act of truth-telling in an industry built on silence and image control. Others, though, weren't so sure. They wondered if her public call-out might have made things worse. Could this push Melody even further away from returning to the show? Or had she just exposed something everyone was too afraid to talk about? Regardless, the conversation had shifted. What was once a quiet behind-the-scenes power struggle was now a public battle, with receipts, interviews, and fan theories spreading across every platform. And as the chaos grew, Nell's reputation began to take a hit. People started revisiting her previous actions, the sudden alliances, the interviews, the way she seemed to be everywhere but never quite accountable. Some began to see a pattern. Others defended her, saying she was simply being used as a scapegoat. But the truth? It's hard to tell where genuine concern ends and strategic influence begins, especially in a world built on cameras, contracts, and image management. What's clear is that Melody's mother's decision to speak up has opened a door that can't be closed. Behind the scenes, the situation became even more complicated. Producers, aware of the growing tension, reportedly started to panic. Public feuds among the cast are one thing, but a feud involving a cast member's mother calling out someone tied to production? That's uncharted territory. Suddenly, there were emergency meetings. Statements being drafted. Damage control in full effect. Everyone wanted to contain the fire before it burned down what was left of their show's credibility. Meanwhile, Melody herself remained mostly silent, letting her mother's words speak for her. But those close to her said the entire situation took an emotional toll. She had worked hard to rebuild her peace after walking away from toxic environments, and now, it felt like she was being dragged back into the same cycle all over again. For Melody, it wasn't just about TV or fame. It was about boundaries, about being respected as a woman, a mother, and a professional. Every rumor, every manipulation, every attempt to twist her story felt like a piece of her autonomy being stripped away. And when the person being accused of fueling that cycle was someone who once claimed to support her, the betrayal cut even deeper. Her mother knew that pain. She saw it in her daughter's eyes, the exhaustion of always having to defend herself against narratives designed to tear her down. That's why, even if it meant stirring controversy, she wasn't going to stay silent anymore. Because sometimes silence is mistaken for weakness. And Ms. Vanessa was done letting anyone think her silence meant consent. As weeks passed, the fallout didn't slow down. Nell's name trended for days. Old clips resurfaced. Fans dissected every post, every caption, every cryptic message, searching for clues. Then came reports that Nell might be facing consequences. Some insiders claimed that producers were distancing themselves from her to protect the show's image. Others said she was still very much in control, just operating more quietly now. But one thing was undeniable: her influence was no longer untouchable. Meanwhile, Ms. Vanessa's words had sparked a new wave of respect among fans. She wasn't seen as meddling or messy, she was seen as a mother who finally drew the line. Someone who had watched her daughter be dragged for too long and finally said, "No more." Still, behind all the online noise, the emotional cost remained heavy. Melody had to navigate public sympathy and skepticism at the same time. Some questioned whether her mother's bold move might make her return to the show impossible. Others argued it gave her more power than ever, forcing everyone to acknowledge the truth that had been ignored for years. And in the middle of it all, Melody faced a decision. Would she stay away from it all, choosing peace over platform? Or would she take control of her narrative and confront the situation head-on? Either way, one thing was certain: the days of quiet tolerance were over. What nobody expected was what came next. A leaked message surfaced online, a screenshot that allegedly showed private communication between Nell and another cast member. It hinted at backdoor conversations about Melody, her reputation, and how her image could be managed for storyline purposes. The leak reignited everything. Fans demanded answers. Critics called it proof of manipulation. Supporters of Nell dismissed it as fake or out of context. But for Melody's mother, it was confirmation of everything she had suspected all along. And that's when she made another move, one that showed she wasn't backing down. In a brief but powerful message, she wrote, "The truth always comes out. I stayed quiet for years, but when silence starts protecting lies, speaking up becomes necessary." It was simple, but it hit like thunder. Within minutes, the post went viral. People quoted it, debated it, celebrated it. And in that moment, Melody's mother went from a quiet figure in the background to the voice everyone was listening to.